Joining me now, we've got Sandra Cho, who is the Pointwealth Capital Management CEO and founder. Great to have you here with us this morning. You're closely watching three areas to invest right now, and I want to start with energy specifically there. What are some of the picks that you feel most energized about within that sector?
Well, it hasn't had the huge run-up that the overall, AI market has. There are certain names that we're really looking at, like Chevron, Exxon, Clearway, that, really have some valuation potential over there. And, we're looking at some other sectors too. I mean, some names have really been beaten down in, for example, Boeing, Intel. I mean, these names, as we know, have taken a hit. So we're looking at them closely. And then, of course, healthcare. So Intuitive Surgical, long growth runway, been a favorite of ours for quite a while. And we're keeping a close watch there.
I want to come back to some of those beaten down names that you mentioned, and we're taking a look at Boeing on the screen there a moment ago. As you're thinking about what type of opportunity there is and what most notably you would need to see within the fundamentals to improve for these companies for it to really translate into some broader sentiment that kind of sends ripples through the markets.
Sure. Well, as we've heard in the news constantly, there's been problems with quality, safety. So, they had the huge strike, but now that's in the rearview mirror. They can focus on just cleaning things up and just having their process be tight as far as, keeping things clean, making sure there's not the issues that they've had before with, bolts coming off doors and, just safety issues, both in making their products and then also, in the air. I mean, you've got to have confidence and the airlines have to have confidence. Plus, not only that, I mean, you see this huge backlog of orders that need to be filled. So, there are, some production challenges that really they need to just fix. So I do feel that they're on the path to do that. And if they continue that, then, that potentially could be very good for the stock.
You also mentioned healthcare and your picks within healthcare. As you're thinking about some of the changes that industry is preparing itself for, as we have, of course, in 2025, a changing of, or 2025, after the inauguration, there's going to be a new fleet of folks that are really earmarked to come in and look across healthcare, everything from biotech, even into the insurance businesses. Where are you kind of anticipating some of those changes to impact your own portfolio strategy?
I think one of the most exciting areas right now is that biotech space that you mentioned. I mean, there's innovations that are happening, that were happening before, but now are catalysts and catapulted up. Like, for example, as we know, during COVID, there was just quite a bit of depression, no matter what the age group, but especially with younger folks. And, it was difficult. And so now with biotech, they're coming up with things like, implants that are as small as a pea, that are minimally invasive, that actually go into your brain and help you rewire to get out of PTSD, depression. These are things that are just revolutionary. And then, going back to Intuitive Surgical, I mean, long growth runway, here you have this company that has invented the Da Vinci system that has been around. It's been there. But, it's being used more and more. And I think people are opening up their minds to robotics-assisted, minimally invasive surgery that could really benefit a lot of people.
And then just lastly, while we have you here, you were mentioning some energy names as well. And I think more broadly about the performance that we've seen of XLE over the course of this year, up still about 11, 12%, but underperforming, obviously, the broader S&P 500. So what are you looking for as the catalyst for that industry?
Just look around at AI. AI is going to take an immense amount of energy. And, from everywhere that you could possibly imagine. You've heard talk about bringing back nuclear plants and developing that, but AI is just going to need a huge amount, and that's got to be powered by the companies that exist right now, and then perhaps new technologies that we have yet to kind of tap into. But energy is not going to be going away, and like you mentioned, it hasn't had this huge run up that some of these bigger Mag 7 names have really had in the last 2 years.
Sandra, thank you so much for taking the time here with us today. We're going to be tracking all of these picks going into next year. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brad.